XMR Monero, the, I guess, privacy altcoin. Um, this has long been the only altcoin I've ever considered legitimate or even reasonably built or structured. We'll get into like why I think this coin is legit in a minute, but more importantly, like the reason I'm talking about Monero in the first place is because the whole Craig Wright, Satoshi Nakamoto court case ruled, and it's like, oh, okay, like more or less, like Craig Wright has been declared like the solo creative inventor of Bitcoin at this point, and potentially has all kinds of patents, and he's actually supporting a chain that's not the BTC chain. He supposedly has patents on the BCH, which is the Bitcoin Cash chain, and the fork of that, which is the Satoshi Vision chain, right? And and those chains have scalable block sizes, which is something that makes a whole lot of sense if you want the thing to work at scale, which almost no altcoin does, but Monero does this. And so outside of being like a privacy coin, there's a few features that are other features, but whatever. But anyway, that feature, in the event that there's a black swan and a fork war on Bitcoin blockchains between the fixed blocks and the scalable blocks, Monero is one of the only alts that has scalable blocks. So I did want to point that out. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell thing. Okay, but the other thing about Monero is that the technicals don't look that good. Hold on, let's look at the actual chart for a second. Yeah, because the Bitcoin like Satoshi Vision popped. Let's look at that for a second. Like coming into the court case, it pulled down. After the ruling, it just kind of went back to where it was. Not too crazy. You would think it would get a bigger pop after that kind of a freaking news story, but we have not yet seen any of the Satoshi Bitcoins move, which Craig Wright said that he was going to move those and potentially donate a lot of them to charity. And yeah, a ton of patents on BCH, which would basically declare the BTC fork, well, like a legal problem, and then also if Satoshi is identified and comes out saying like this is not the real fork and it's not going to work at scale and like you guys screwed it up, which is what he's been saying for years, then that could be a big issue for any of the fixed block size coins, and then a big war could be bad for all the coins. So anyway, I guess just technicals on Monero. This thing doesn't look great. It's like kind of blown a bull run here. It's still in the channel, but it looks bad. It is kind of at support, but like once you've blown your bull line and you're testing support levels, it can get kind of so I don't like the technicals of this as far as a trade goes. But I did want to ask everybody what they think of Monero versus like the Bitcoin Satoshi Vision chain, which are like the two most innovative chains that have scalable block sizes. Because Monero, well, first of all, who is Nicolas Van Saberhagen? This blockchain also has a mysterious white paper with a pseudonym person that's like some Dutch sounding name. There was like a Saberhagen that was a science fiction writer that died in like 2007, so maybe that could have been borrowed for the pseudonym, but like, is this Satoshi that's doing this also? Or like some completely random other person? Or do they know each other? Or who knows what's going on here? But anyways, Monero is a privacy coin, and it's on the Bytecoin chain, which there's like the Bitcoin white paper, or it was called, oh, what was it called? Crypto Note, I think. The white paper was called like Crypto Note. And then there was Bitcoin, which was like the first blockchain on that white paper, and then it was like an 80% pre-mine, like scam-looking thing, and Monero forked off of that, so it's a super weird project, but it has a bunch of key features that are cool, which is it well, it has a different mining pool setup where people are supposed to be able to mine with their own like personal processors and stuff. You're supposed to be able to have way more miners instead of just like smaller pools of miners like Bitcoin. And the scalable block size is very much the same as like the Bitcoin Satoshi vision, where as you get more and more transactions, you can make the blocks bigger so that it scales and transactions can actually happen with more users, which is good. But this also imposes a block size limit where miners won't like try to arbitrarily make the blocks bigger until it's necessary, because you can get like spam transactions, and miners would, it just disincentivizes like making the blocks bigger unless it's necessary. That's a big thing that's on the Monero chain, like easier mining for more people, which is more decentralized. And then it has, well, it has ring signatures, which is a privacy thing to improve the protecting the actual user that owns the wallet. And then it hides the transaction amount. And then it also has inflation built in. It doesn't just end at some point and then there's no more coins. Miners need to get paid in coins, and if there's no inflation on the blockchain, then it has to go to a total user fee system. And so that's like a big question for Bitcoin, is like what happens when the last Bitcoin is mined and then the blockchain's not providing any payment to the miners. Then it has to go to a complete separate like payment system. So with Monero, there's at least like some amount of payment from the blockchain. And inflation is not like a fun word, but it's not like fiat money where the inflation is like parabolic and gets like ridiculous out of control. It's a linear small amount of inflation that just pays the miners. And it may not pay the full amount that the miners need, but at least it's like some amount. But anyway, those are a bunch of the features of Monero, and it's a really cool chain, and it's one of the scalable chains. So I was just thinking that, if there's a big fork war, and if it ends up being the scalable version of Bitcoin that takes over, especially after like patents or legal procedures or big crazy news about Satoshi coming out, or any of this stuff that's happening, I would think Monero could be like the altcoin in that case. Like you could see all these other altcoins that are just forks off Bitcoin and Ethereum's fixed blocks. Like everything that's fixed block could go out of style. And then it could just be like Satoshi's vision and Monero that are kind of still hanging on here and sort of take over. But Monero is like the super privacy coin that has tons of miners, so that you don't have like a centralized like big companies or anything controlling all the mining, and then all the privacy features, so that it's harder to track and it's like way more anonymous. So I was in the event, in the event of some crazy, of like, say like World War breaks out and there's this huge like a ban on all crypto, and who knows, like some crazy situation like that. Like Bitcoin could get frozen or locked up or whatever, but it would be like Monero probably in that situation would continue to live on like a cockroach. It's almost designed for like that type of situation, like complete like ban and tyranny of crypto, but like Monero just is even harder to stop from existing than Bitcoin would be. Like Bitcoin's more of like a legally compliant, like public ledger system that's, you know, like property right and like exchange of value for a stable for a stable government system. But like Monero could be like the underground crypto, like during a crazy war or something. That's kind of what I was thinking. Um, but anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you guys think about scalable blockchains in this court case, and like what do you guys think's gonna happen? Like what's going on here? This is kind of crazy. Obviously, not investment advice as usual, but I did just kind of want to take a look at the trading of this thing and just talk about the insanity that could ensue with all of these coins. And yeah, anyway, that's Monero for now. And good luck. Cheers.